perfect combo of richness and lightness all in a cake. Tres Leches is a traditional and classic cake that's origin is debated, but nowadays it's most commonly associated with Nicaraguan or Mexican cuisine. The point is, it's delicious yet simple, it doesn't require a lot of technique, and all of the ingredients are readily available at most grocery stores. This is how I make mine. I start by quickly combining my dry ingredients into a bowl. A lot of recipes use all-purpose flour for this, but I think cake flour is just a little better. It's a little finer and it has a little less protein content, so I think it makes for a better fluffy cake, which is what we're going for. Of course, if you only have all-purpose flour, that'll still work fine. I'm using 170 grams or about 1.5 cups. I'm also adding 5 grams or a teaspoon of baking powder. If you're pouring directly from the can, you can kind of twist it in like this to avoid big clumps falling out. That's a little tip. And then also 3 grams or a half teaspoon of kosher salt. I just give those a preliminary whisk so they're more evenly combined. Then I'm just going to take 5 large eggs and separate the yolks from the whites. I did these one by one in a separate bowl because I only had 6 eggs total and I didn't want to contaminate anything if a yolk popped. I'm putting all the egg whites into my stand mixer bowl and then all my egg yolks into a regular bowl where I'll use a hand mixer. You can just use one of the other types of mixers here, but I'm going to use both so that I can multitask and be done faster. To my egg whites, I'm just going to add a pinch of cream of tartar, maybe a 1/4 teaspoon. I always do this when making meringue to stabilize everything. And then to my egg yolks, I'm adding 1 cup or 200 grams of granulated sugar. I also have an additional 1/4 cup or 50 grams of granulated sugar waiting for the meringue. So I'm going to whip both the egg yolks and the egg whites on high speed. For the egg yolks, I'm just trying to reach a pale yellow mixture where all the sugar is dissolved. And then the egg whites, I'm trying to get to eventually stiff peaks. But while they're still foaming, before they get to soft peaks, I'm going to add in that 50 grams of sugar bit by bit with a spoon and just continue whipping that until I get those stiff peaks. Once I get both of those bowls to the consistency that I like, I'm going to take my egg yolk mixture and I'm going to add in a couple teaspoons of vanilla extract as well as 1/3 cup or 80 milliliters of whole milk. I'm going to carefully beat all that together until it's homogeneous, and then I should have my 3 separate mixtures, my egg white meringue, my egg yolk mixture, and then my dry mixture from before. The order and method that I combine these is important. I'm going to start by dumping the egg yolk mixture into the dry mixture, and from here on I'm just using a rubber spatula to mix everything. I'm going to carefully fold this together, trying not to lose the air that I beat into the egg yolks. It should be looking something like a thick pancake batter at this point, and then in 3 stages I'm going to add in my egg white meringue, so about 1/3 at a time. And being even more careful to maintain the air, I'm going to fold this together, which just means you're cutting the spatula through the middle and then scraping it around the sides and repeating. After a few minutes of mixing, your consistency should look something like this. It should be nice and cloudy from all the air that we mixed into the eggs. And then I'm going to take a 9x13 baking pan. I prefer metal when I'm making cakes like this. And then I'm just going to butter down the sides and the bottom until I get a nice non-stick coating. I would normally use non-stick spray, but I have so much butter right now that I'm trying to get rid of. Anyway, just pour the batter evenly into the pan, trying to push it into the sides and corners. And do not under any circumstances pound this onto the countertop like you would with brownies or something. That's a tactic used to pop air bubbles and release air. We do not want to do that here, obviously. And that's it. This can go into a preheated 350 Fahrenheit or 180 Celsius oven for anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. Once you can do a toothpick test and pull the toothpick cleanly out of the cake, then you're done. Mine took about 26 minutes. I'm just going to pull mine directly to a wire rack so it can cool all around the sides. And during that time, we can make our milk mixture, which is where the cake gets its name from. This is so easy. You're going to get a measuring cup or mixing bowl and add 160 milliliters or 2/3 cup of whole milk, and then a whole 12-ounce can of evaporated milk. Use the whole milk stuff and not the skim. And then finally, a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, the best stuff on the planet. Also, make sure to almost slice off your thumb with the can lid like I did. Ow! Just briefly whisk those together and that's it. Once your cake has cooled completely, and I mean completely, so you need to give it like an hour at least, you're going to grab a fork and just poke an infinite amount of holes into the cake. You're just trying to create as many pockets as possible for that milk to soak into the cake. And don't worry if you're beating up the top of the cake because no one's going to see it after we put the frosting on it. And at this point you can just dump over your milk mixture. It'll seem like it's about to overflow, and I thought mine was going to do that, but if you give it time, it'll start to soak in and you won't see it anymore. So you can just cover that and leave it in the fridge to absorb everything. It should take at least another hour, but I do mine overnight. The last component for this cake is the frosting, and it's just whipped cream. So technically, wouldn't this be a cuatro leches cake? Let me know what you think. I'm once again using my stand mixer for this, and I placed my whisk attachment and the bowl in the freezer for a few minutes just so everything is cold. This could easily be done in the same manner with a hand mixer. I'm just adding 2 cups or 480 mils of heavy whipping cream, and I'm going to add my flavorings in a minute. I just want to beat this by itself first. You can go on pretty high speed at first because it's going to take a few minutes, but do be careful towards the end because it'll go from whipped cream to butter in no time. So when I get to like a soft peak or still pretty liquidy stage, I'm going to add in my sugar and vanilla extract. Do these to your taste. I did about 3 tablespoons of sugar and about a teaspoon of vanilla, but you do what you like. And then at the end, I'm going to mix on a lot lower speed so I'm more careful to avoid making butter. And once you've got your stiff peaks like this, you are done. And then you can take that cake out of the fridge and start to ice it. I guess if you want to be really meticulous, you can try to slice the cake to be more even. You can see mine has little humps all over it, but I don't really care. This is kind of a messy cake anyway. So I'm just dumping the whipped cream all over and trying to make a pretty even layer. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but that's not what I'm aiming for. I'm just trying to get it on there. And that is your tres leches cake. You can serve it right out of the pan. You can decorate this how you like. I like to decorate the individual slices with fruit, but you can decorate the whole cake with fruit if you like. You can also cut this how you like. I'm going with 4x3 slices to make 12. But honestly, those are pretty big slices, so if you have kids eating, you might want to make more smaller ones. So I made this for a group of friends that were coming over to eat carne asada with me, but I did sneak a slice to eat on camera beforehand. So I carefully removed it and put it on a plate and added a few thin slices of strawberry. To me, that's all you need, a fluffy and rich soaked cake that everyone's gonna love. Let's try this thing out. This is why I'm so glad that multiple cultures exist. I'm so thankful that we have so many different things that we can choose from, so many different flavor profiles. Some days we can be in the mood for one thing, and other days we can be in the mood for others. For me, variety is so important with food. Whenever I try to diet, it really only works if I have a multitude of things to choose from. And it's really cool that there's such a wide spectrum of food to choose from. And just in the realm of baking and cakes, this is one type of cake that's so different than many other kinds. The idea of a soaked cake just sounds really good. So I need to stop talking. I have friends coming to eat this with me in a little bit, along with the carne asada, which hopefully I've already released that video, but who knows at this point. Let's just dig in. Cheers. This is so good. What I love about this is the way it combines the lightness and fluffiness of this sponge cake with the richness of all the milks that are soaked into it. Sometimes I don't want the heaviness of something like a cheesecake or like a chocolate cake, which I made a few weeks ago. This can be the perfect summer dessert. It's just so light and refreshing. You've got to try this if you haven't yet. It's so easy too. Just so airy and fluffy from all that work that we did with the eggs. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that the condensed milk isn't the one doing all the work in this dish. It cuts right through all the flavors, but it's an amazing flavor. I could sit there and eat a can by itself. I don't know what to say other than you need to make this, but that's going to be it for me. I need to get things ready for my friends. I hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate those who watched it. Keep helping me out with ideas if you have any, but otherwise, be blessed. Thank y'all for watching, and see you next time. Love the whipped cream with everything else.